A very good evening to you. This is your prime time news bulletin coming to you live on MTV Sports and Shakti TV from our News First studios here in Colombo. I'm Shahin Jurangpati.
I'm Stephanie Lazarus. A key Free Syria Army rebel leader has been killed by an Islamist group with links to Al-Qaeda.
Well, the News First International Desk will have more details on this.
But before that, here's a look at what's making headlines.
Polls for the northern, central and northwestern provinces to take place on the same date. Elections Commissioner to be strict on elections regulations. Results of the Global Corruption Barometer 2013 report compiled by Transparency International indicates that Sri Lanka Police is the most corrupt institution in the country. 6 killed in 3 separate motor accidents. 5 killed in a clash at an Indonesian prison while over 200 inmates break free.
Stories in detail. Elections Commissioner Mahinda Deshapriya says that elections for the Northern, Central and Northwestern Provincial Councils will be held on the same day. Speaking at a media briefing convened today, Deshapriya pointed out that this is the first time that an election is being held in the North with due consideration to administrative districts and electorates.
The Northern Provincial Council has 5 administrative districts, namely Jaffna, Vavuniya, Kilinochchi, Mana and Mullaitivu. At the upcoming elections, 16 provincial councillors from the Jaffna district, 4 from the Kilinochchi district, 5 each from the Mana and Mullaitivu districts and 6 from the Vavuniya district will be elected. The Elections Commissioner noted that voters registered on the electoral list as at the 31st of December 2012 will be able to exercise their franchise at the upcoming elections. We have registered the people who were resettled by the 31st of December 2012. People who settled in 2013 had the right to vote, but if they were registered at a previous residence, then they could not be removed from the 2012 electoral list. Well, nominations for the Northern, Central and Northwestern Provincial Council elections must be submitted by noon on the 1st of August. Applications for postal voting must be submitted by midnight on the 2nd of August. The Elections Commissioner also pointed out that election day will most probably fall on either the 21st or 28th of September.
මොකද හරි ප්‍රශ්නයක් නේ දැන් අද මගුල් ගෙවල් වලට දින වෙන් කරගෙන හිටියොත් කුරුණෑගල හෝටලයක් මං ඡන්දේ ඒගොල්ලෝ 28ට වෙන් කරගෙන හිටියයි කියමු අපි 28ට ඡන්දේ දැම්මා ඔක්කොම බකල්නේ.
Sufficient notice must be given, just in case people plan get-togethers, trips or Nagadeepa pilgrimage for the 28th. What would they do if we hold elections? That is why we have responsibly announced the date by giving sufficient time.
විය හැකි දිනය කියනවා.
The Elections Commissioner reiterated that limitations would be imposed on campaigning during school examinations. Examinations are to be held between the 5th and 31st of August. Campaigning with loudspeakers will be banned. No meetings of any sort will be allowed near examination halls during examinations. Once the meeting is over, it is over. There will be no musical performances during exam time. I hope to ban canvassing on foot on the day of the Year 5 scholarship examination. An examination is conducted for children to compete. However, it is not only examinations that determine the future of all children in Sri Lanka. The Elections Commissioner also responded to questions posed by journalists. There is nothing in the law regarding who can be brought and who cannot be brought. We all have a right to make requests if we do not want it. But we cannot disregard this because, notwithstanding the law, it has come about through tradition. Discussions will be held with political parties and the Elections Commissioner will arrive at a decision on who to bring.
දේශපාලන පක්ෂ සමග තීරණය කරලා ඔවුන්ගේ අදහස් සාකච්ඡා කර ඒක තීරණය මැතිවරණ කොමසාරිස් විසින් ගන්නවා ඇති. 13 වෙනි ආණ්ඩුව විමර්ශන සංශෝධනය කරන්න මේ කුළුවන්දලේ මැතිවරණයක් හැදලා තියෙන අවස්ථාවක. No comment. ඔබතුමා ඒ සම්බන්ධයෙන් මට නේ No comment. ඒකට උත්තරයක් දෙන්න බෑ ඒක දේශපාලන ප්‍රශ්නයක්. කඩුව නගරාධිපතිතුමා ඔබතුමාට ඇවිල්ලා පෙත්සමක් බාර දුන්නා. ටෙලිෆෝන් එකද? ඡන්දේ විනාමලයකට සකස් කරන සමයේ දුරකථන නාම දුරකථන ලබා දුන්නා. ඒ සමයේ දුරතුමා කරන පියවර. ඡන්දේ විනාමලයකනේ ටෙලිෆෝන් වලින් හදන්න බෑනේ. මම ලිව්වා.
The The electoral list cannot be compiled by telephone. I wrote about this and it has been handed over to the Secretary to the Minister of Public Administration. I submitted a copy to him and attached my views to it. If anything is being given by anybody to any public official, it is suitable that it comes through the ministry. But they say that nothing should be given. I see that he has made a statement. I did not give serious consideration towards this because I know that you cannot buy our Grama Niladaris if you give them a laptop, let alone a telephone. I have faith in my officials.
ටෙලිෆෝන් එකක් නෙවෙයි ලැප්ටොප් එකක් දුන්නත් පර්චේස් කරන්න බෑ කියලා කාටවත්. මම මගේ නිලධාරීන් විශ්වාස කරනවානේ.
The Elections Commissioner also spoke on media guidelines during the elections.
උපමාන මාධ්‍ය උපමාන. අපි ඒක නැවත පොලිසිය.
With regard to media guidelines, we will polish this following discussions with political parties and issue them. I had prepared them. Although we all speak about controlling the state media, guidelines are issued for all media institutions, not only the state.
සියලුම මාධ්‍ය සඳහා තමයි අපි උපමාන නිකුත් කරන්නේ.
The Commissioner expressed these views on exercising his powers.
සමහර දේවල් තියෙනවානේ මැතිවරණ.
There are some instances where although the Elections Commissioner is not vested with the power, he has the power of authority. This power must be used from time to time.
වෙනයක් හරි වෙනුවේ නැත්තම් ධර්මීය බඳින්න ගන්න.
Secretaries and representatives of political parties participated at a meeting with the Elections Commissioner this afternoon.
He informed us of the number of councils that would be elected from each of the districts in each province and the procedure to be followed when submitting nominations. We were also provided with a model nomination application. We discussed all the basics. One of the biggest problems during elections is the abuse of state assets and state property. There is also the bias in the state media and the abuse of state media. He agreed with this and said that all of these institutions would be provided with guidelines on how they should function during elections. Special attention was paid to the elections in the north. The Elections Commissioner notably said that he would make an effort to monitor police administration as well. In addition, he said that elections in the north, especially in Jaffna, would be vulnerable. I think what he meant to say was that every time an election has been held in the north, it comes to a situation where even parliamentarians are hospitalized. We discussed the level of military intervention in the elections for the Northern Provincial Council. The Elections Commissioner promised us that although he could not make a request for them to be confined to barracks, he would request that military activity be limited during elections. He also promised us that a request would be made to increase the number of police officers. Since we are of the stance that the elections must be clean regardless of who wins, whether or not election monitors come there is irrelevant. Even if they are not present, as the government we are committed to holding a free and fair election. We ask that the military not be removed during elections in the north. A peaceful election. We do not need international monitors. We want election monitors from Sri Lanka.
Meanwhile, the heads of the Tamil National Alliance have begun discussions to reach a final conclusion on the Northern Provincial Council polls. The meeting is taking place at the TNA headquarters.
Meanwhile, M. Karnani, the leader of the Tamil Nadu political party, the Dravida Munnetra Kanagam, has expressed his skepticism over promises made by Sri Lanka to India's National Security Advisor, Shivashankar Menon. India's The Hindu reports that issuing a statement yesterday, Karnanidhi had said that given Sri Lanka's track record of reneging on earlier commitments, it remains to be seen whether the country will fulfill promises it has made to Menon during his recent visit to Sri Lanka. Referring to Menon's assertion after his meeting with President Mahinda Rajapaksa that Colombo would fulfill its commitment to India and the international community regarding a political settlement that would go beyond the 13th Amendment to the Constitution, Karnanidhi had expressed hope that elections to the Northern Provincial Council would be held in an independent, fair and credible manner.
Let's now take a look at the newspaper cartoon of the day, which we selected from amongst today's English newspapers.
Well, the topic for debate at the Satana Political Debate program held at Stein Studios in Ratmalani yesterday was the political situation in the country ahead of the provincial council election.
Today,
the people have no means of educating their children, bearing the burden of the cost of living or pawn of their jewelry to settle debts. This election has come from nowhere at a time when the public have been pushed into a serious crisis situation. Provincial councils are a white elephant. It is ill-suited for the country. This must be abolished and the provincial councils must be done away with. In the history of this nation, there was an era of massive development. Sri Lanka was the richest country in the world in the 12th and 13th centuries. The system of governance then was centered around the king. They united with leaders of other nations. There was a cabinet of ministers behind the king. Are you saying we need a monarchy? No, do not misunderstand me. You said that the Westminster parliamentary system is wrong. I accept that it is wrong. But you are saying we need a monarchy like the one that existed in Polonnaruwa. No, do not change the question. Not the same system. We need to build a modern system based on this, which is suitable for the country. When talking about police and land powers, what I feel is there is actually no police or land power. The provincial councils have not been given police or land powers. If the governor does not sign, then no convention can be passed in the provincial councils. These powers have not been given to this provincial council system. Regardless of the problems that exist, the provincial councils are in a position to do something for the people. I do not say that this is the solution to the Northeast problem.
ඒ මොන ප්‍රශ්න තිබ්බත් මේ හදන පළාත් සභාව තුල ප්‍රදේශයේ ජනතාවට දැනෙන වැඩක් කරන්න පුළුවන් තත්ත්වයේ තියෙනවා. මේ උතුරු නැගෙනහිර ප්‍රශ්නෙට විසඳුම මේකයි කියලා මම කියන්නේ.
Our stance, the stance of the Democratic Party, is that power must be devolved. Our party will submit a new populist constitution in the near future. We are preparing the necessary drafts at present. We are still a young party. We are only 3 months old, but we are carrying out major activities in a populist program.
තාම නිර්මල විවිතුරු පක්ෂයක් මාස 3ක පක්ෂයක් නමුත් දැවැන්ත කාර්යයක් ඉෂ්ට සිද්ධ කරමින් යනවා ජනතාවාදී වැඩපිළිවෙලක් එක්ක.
6 people were killed while 30 others were injured in separate motor accidents that took place in various parts of the island. 4 of the deceased were Samurdhi development officers who met with an untimely death while travelling in a bus.
An accident took place close to the Kotalia Bridge in Manampitiya, Polonnaruwa. 21 persons who were injured in the accident were admitted to the Polonnaruwa hospital. 4 of them later succumbed to their injuries. According to the police, the group were returning to Batticaloa after attending a workshop in Colombo. We are some of the officers from the Batticaloa district. We rented a van from the Kalluru area to attend a workshop in Colombo along with 14 divisional secretaries. We left Colombo at 7 last night. We met with the accident when we were heading back. Perimban Nadeshan, a Samurdhi development officer from Kiran, Batticaloa, was killed in the accident. He was a father of 2 and a resident from Aryampadi, Batticaloa. They went to Colombo yesterday. The accident happened when they were on their way back. The driver of the ill-fated bus too was killed in the accident. He was 31-year-old Sundaram Pillai Udayakumar. Meanwhile, a vehicle carrying a group of education officers who were on their way for a meeting at the Kandy Governor's office met with an accident in the Ulapane area in Gampala. Assistant Education Director for Hatton Badra Jayawardena was killed in the accident, while 5 others were injured. The injured were admitted to the Gampala and Navalapitiya district hospitals. 2 persons who were in a critical condition were transferred to the Kandy General Hospital. A truck transporting sand collided with a bus parked at a bus stand in Galewela, killing 1 person who was at the bus stand. The Galewela Medical Health Office was also damaged in the accident.
We went to the MOH for a vaccination. A bus that was heading to Dambulla was parked at the bus stand. The tipper came from one side. My child and I would have been run over.
AW Priyantha Anuruddha was killed in the accident. The office of the police media spokesperson said that 8 persons who were injured in the accident were admitted to the Galewela district hospital. The police added that 2 of the injured were transferred to the Dambulla base hospital. The truck driver was arrested in connection with the accident.